game. I thought you played real well. It was a great atmosphere, senior night, you know. A lot of tears at the beginning when we were all down on the field, but it was an enjoyable moment for us to see you get to that point, you know. You just don't realize how fast it goes, even in college,
for sure.
You know, for those kids.
Well, that one was homecoming. Senior night was the OSU game, and that was when the one that was very, very emotional. And I'm glad they got to meet my family.
A family of Raiders.
Oh no, he can't start that.
Go Raiders!
Don't start that.
Go Raiders!
Once it's getting quiet, go on and get crunk. Head back to Longview, Kelly popping trunk. I ain't even tripping, riding and I'm sipping. Let me come through, 4-4, steady tipping. On that new lap, watch the trunk crack. Let me sit sideways, CB running back. Maybe AP, maybe AD. I ain't even tripping cause we some athletes. Messing with Smitty in the summertime. He get pissed if we don't make our time. But we gon' get it, cause we gotta finish. Nebraska Horn Hustlers, man, we diminish. Put them boys little, paint like a skittle. I ain't even tripping, I ain't never double dribble. Cause I'm a player from the Himalaya. Let me sit sideways, man. Maybe back door, maybe fall off. Sipping codeine cause I gotta kill a cough. Let me sit sideways in the big Benz. Oh, you boys, they my brothers, they my friends.
All right, welcome back. Another episode of Fullback U. And, you know, I use the phrase family a lot, but this will be absolutely family. So let me bring in my brother, Lenny Hatchett. How are you, sir?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing well, Lynn. My sister, Tessa Martin. How are you, Tess?
Good. Happy to be here. Happy
to have you. My brother-in-law, David Martin. How are you, sir?
Good. Great to be here.
We call David DC, so if anybody hears DC, you just know about that. All three of my family are educators. Spent probably more than 30 years of education in your education. Very, very proud of all of them. Big bro finished state runner-up this year in 5A. Tess has been multiple times teacher of the year. David's been multiple, just influencing a lot of kids' lives, so they all do great work. Lenny, you're here for an OU football show, though, so everybody wants to know what your younger brother was like growing up. So from elementary, you know, what do you remember first memories of me?
Well, Boomer Sooner then. Here we go. I mean, from elementary, you know, starts out in the days of when he was at Steed Elementary, having to play on the line because back then I think you guys had a weight limit of or either a helmet size limit. I don't know what it was, but certain weight limits had to be on the line, and you always want to be a skill position kid. And I think that changed a little bit as you gotten older towards the junior high phase and definitely in high school where you were, a tight end and free safety, defensive end, played multiple positions. I've always thought you always had a good knack for the ball, understood how to play with the ball in your hand, and definitely could run because the vision that you was able to have when you were on the field. And I remember that back in the days when you played for Coach Steele and the T-Birds before Steed even started.
Yeah.
You know,
That's definitely my first memories. JD playing football was before they rebuilt Douglas, and it was their games were over there on the original Douglas
Center
football practice and field, and
yeah.
I think one of the very first time JD touched the ball, he ran it all the way back because he knew the rules, and the other kids were kind of just in little kid land, just happy to be in a costume. Where I think JD understood early on how to play the game and, more importantly, win it.
So Tessa, Lenny was 10 years older. Tessa's 7 years older than I am. So they got to see me again growing up and all that. For those that don't know, our family grew up on the east side. That we moved to Midwest City at Steed Elementary. Went through that process, and before I got to junior high, I met you, David. You married my sister. You've been an incredible man since then, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
When you met me, what'd you think? Would just tell everybody what it was like for me growing up.
Gym rat, but not in the sense of being in the gym. Just every time I saw him, he was playing sports. My fondest memories is him and his buddies playing basketball in front of the house. But I think the first sport, like I was telling you, I saw you play was baseball, which was pretty cool because not where I'm from, we didn't really play baseball like that. You had to go out in the suburbs to play baseball. So it was cool to see that. I think some of the things that Tess and Lenny mentioned, I would have loved to see because you're a great athlete, really good athlete, really skilled, really smart. You're a jock, but you're intelligent. So that kind of makes you a little stand out. But I think one of the biggest memories, tear jerkers, is I think it was El Reno. I think it was your coming out game, and that was pretty like, I mean that was enjoyable because, like Lenny was saying, they wanted you on the line and they had you in certain positions in high school, and then I think they figured out, whoa, we have a huge individual that's very athletic, can run, jump, do all that. And El Reno's coach, just like most men, are stubborn, and he refused to change the game plan, and so you torched him. And then once you finished torching him, I think the twins torched him. I want to say Robert torched him. It was a torch fest. But after that, I think we already knew you were a superstar, but you really, really solidified yourself in that game right there. That was big time.
Well, Lenny went to, we mentioned at Wingate for college and then came back and finished at UCO. Tessa and David were at Langston. David's from D.C., so that's why we call him D.C. So the thing I remember, man, Lenny's going to laugh at this, but fucking tackle the man with a football in the front yard, man. I mean, it was awful, man. We was on third place. I remember Lynn Sexton. Sure. Shout out to, I call him Uncle, but Damon, Lynn, Colbert, used to just annihilate me, man. So by the time I was in elementary, and got to junior high, I think I really, really was set ahead. And then I think, kind of what you guys talked about and you guys really, really pushed me at and was really, really excellent at. Tessa, you did multiple sports as well. But basketball, man, Lenny, you had me at basketball camp every summer. DC just putting it on me at making me earn it every different way. So really, really thank you guys for that. I wanted to talk to you, Lynn, towards that junior high deal, what a lot of people don't know, and you and Tessa, I said, were in college, but you came back, started coaching me. I probably was more geared towards basketball in junior high. I mean, what did you think of my junior high days, and before we got to high school, did you think that basketball was my token, or did you think I was going to go football?
I mean, I knew you was good in both. Of course, basketball was a little, a favorite of mine because that's what I played, and I mean, I think keeping you around the gym so much with us, it seemed like it just kind of came natural to you. And of course, I was definitely wanting to push you to play basketball, but football I think came a little more natural, easier to you. And then when you got to high school, you played your freshman. You came up as a freshman, they moved you up as a freshman, and then your sophomore and junior year. And I know you didn't decide to play your senior year, but I think everything worked itself out. I was proud of you of the way you handled everything, and everything went the right way for you, and got the opportunity to play for the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, would you have been able to play college basketball? I think you would have probably had an opportunity to, because I don't think there was too many left-hand point guards like you that could
and do this,
be
that,
as
the
athletic, and the way you pass the ball, and you could still defend, and you had that butt on you. You could post people up as well. So
what they call you on TV, a bowling ball?
A bowling ball.
You move around a little bit. So definitely.
Well, sis, what'd you see? I mean, because I know you were at Langston at the time, but did you see me leaning towards football? Did you see me trying to stay balanced in basketball? I know you were a big softball player. I went away from baseball at that time, but what'd you see in me?
Well, I saw that you competed at anything. I want to go to the neighborhood and back to third place where you just took us. And I remember you guys having tackling clinics in the front yard with some of the neighborhood kids, and you guys were really tackling without any gear on. But I know that anything that you put your mind to, JD, you are hella competitive at. And so I knew whatever it was going to be, whatever you decided to do or want to do or still do, we come from competitive genes. We all compete at everything, as you know. You're going to compete and try to take the number one spot. That's how we do.
But D, before you go, and I got to give y'all credit, all three college grads showed me the way and showed me how to go get my degree and made sure that I got mine. DC, that was, my junior high time. It was probably one of the main times of my life I remember you really taking a stance and molding and being a real big brother and not letting me get away with anything. What did you see in me at that time?
I'm kind of like Tess. I thought you could do anything. If you wanted to pole vault, you could have done it. You were a great athlete, man. Like, honestly, people don't get to see that a lot, but you were a great athlete, and I can't take credit for anything. I mean, I was fortunate to be in y'all family, and you guys have always treated me with, just like blood. So it's been a hell of a journey for me, but I've enjoyed it. Like I always tell Tessa, it's probably the best times of our lives watching you play sports. Lenny as well, going to watch y'all play.
We traveled a lot. We spent a lot of time together then, and we met a lot of families, became friends with a lot of people. I can't even tell you, between the three of us, how many celebrities, we've met or been around, or sat down and had a slice of pizza with Dvorak's mom, or went with Tommy's sisters to Chili's after a game, or hung out with Adrian's family, and they are 30 deep in the stands, and we have this fan experience where the family sat together all the time throughout the whole adventure, and we got to know so many people. So it was awesome to, as we became deeper into our adulthood, to see where everybody went and what they're doing today.
But do you got something?
No, I was just saying, honestly, like, I wouldn't even know anything about probably college football if I didn't come out here and meet you. I didn't deal with college football or any type of Big 12. And it was Georgetown. Maryland was there, but I'm a D.C. guy, so I'm a Georgetown fan. Allen Iverson, John Thompson. But I think what you guys got going on out here, or what we have, since I've been out here just as long as I lived in D.C., is really special. It's the stuff that you really see on TV, like I don't want to say farm fed, but kind of like that. And
people born and raised in it.
Right, it's a culture that a lot of people don't.
People like don't. Basketball, like you talk about basketball.
People just recently, when we were in DC, we were ready to watch the game, and life doesn't stop in Washington D.C. for a OU Sooner game, but you best believe here, life stops, and that just speaks of the culture that OU has.
A lot of times they don't get it. Like,
they don't understand. It's college football. What are you doing? This isn't the Thunder, or this isn't.
It's weird how things worked out. As I got into college, as I got into high school, you all were able to make every high school game. We'll get into college. Lenny, I started out, worked hard. I'm sure we'll talk about the story. You saved my career when I moved to safety and was depressed and ended up not quitting the team. So we'll get into that. But and for those that don't know, I played as a sophomore on varsity, and you mentioned, thanks for the shout out in basketball, but is football, sophomore. And then started in basketball, but let's talk about football first. What are some of the football games that kind of stick out in your head? DC mentioned El Reno. What games stick out to you?
I mean, gosh, I could go on and on, but I think one of the best ones that I saw was the semis against Booker T. Washington.
Absolutely.
When you was playing against Robert Meacham and Cheney and them guys, and I think that game there actually solidified you to be in the position you were in for college after that game film, because of the way you played defense. You were a little more comfortable with that free safety and being able to cover those guys that I just named. Like Meacham was an NFL star for the New Orleans Saints for I don't know how many years.
First round pick.
You held your own against them guys, and actually I don't think they wanted to throw that way towards you very much more. But that high school game definitely stood out. I think also, I want to say it was a home game. Oh, and then, of course, Douglas, playing at Douglas.
Oh,
yeah, that was probably the classic. You got Coach Rose was playing mind games with Douglas. Had y'all warm up at Carl Albert, and then y'all rode up on the field right at the time of the game kickoff, and didn't need to warm up, and went out there. And your good friend Blue still reminds me of that time. We talk about it all the time. Every time I see him, about how y'all lost that game because they beat y'all in the regular season.
Exactly.
And y'all
they were 10-0, right?
And beat y'all
12-0.
Yeah,
11-0.
And then y'all turned around and beat them in the playoffs. So those two games really stuck out just because the similarities of the athletes. There was some supreme athletes out there on the field, from Booker T, Douglas, Carl Albert. There was some really good ball players out there.
Yeah, and for the fans that don't know, my dad went to Douglas, and we actually grew up in Douglas District, but moved before I started school. Tessa, any games that stick out from you from high school?
Not from high school, really, because y'all dominated everybody all the time in your era.
We did in college, too.
So, yeah, and you did in college as well. So, every game stuck out because I knew that we were going to most likely be walking out as winners. Yep. And so how can you not enjoy the season when it's win-win-win?
DC, any games in high school? I know you got a few plays.
Do we have enough time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know how attentive I am. I pay attention to everything. So let's start back with Lenny. The semis. Lenny left out a couple of key points. No disrespect to Q, but I'm pretty sure you were introduced to JD in that game, sir.
Yeah.
And I think that you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that game may have changed somebody's focus on who were they going to give scholarships to at OU.
Absolutely.
Because of the domination on the field. I think that game, one of my favorite games is I told you this, me and Tessa walked into the championship game against Altus, correct? That's who it was.
Yep.
And you're running down.
Oh, Ada.
what?
You did the Ada one.
Like 60 yards, 70 yards with your finger, you know, up in the air.
Scored a touchdown in the first series.
Yeah.
My boy Brian Young was the safety. His dad, he was played on us with the T-Birds, and he had moved back down to Ada, so that was a great game. Any other
Really
plays?
good game. I think one of the games that I thought was funniest is when they let you play running back against Hera.
Yeah.
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
Against Hera.
Yeah.
They were trying everything, man. But you were about to be you were the one man show, but they were trying to really make it the one man show with that. So
Any basketball games, Lynn, that stick out from high school before we go to OU football?
Oh man, it's got to be the Western Heights game.
That's why I asked.
Coach Wilson was the head coach there at Western Heights. We had the game in the bag. We won the game. Of course, the clock's running down.
We're
and-
up 18 with 30 seconds left.
Yeah.
They're trying to foul. We're in 5 out, and they can't even get us because we have 5 guards in, and so we pass the ball out. But go ahead, and with 10 seconds left.
You decided gonna take it to the cup and dunk it. Yeah, Coach Wilson was a little pissed off on that one on us, but
We've got to find that video.
I gotta find that video. But yeah, you actually dunked it and made some non-believers believe. So that was always a game that just stuck out because I think that was actually when I first started to help coaching at Carlisle as far as being an assistant at the varsity level, and that was always a special moment just to be on the sidelines and being able to help coach. My brother that was on the floor, so that was always those memories are always fond for me.
Tessa D, any basketball memories y'all remember?
I would the one that you just said because you were just so like I could just remember just being so focused on trying to dunk. Yeah. You know, so I think I'm not sure if that was the first time you ever did it in the game, but I know, like Lenny was saying, it was big because I could just remember, and it was left-handed too, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that for sure. But I wasn't a big basketball fan. I always enjoyed watching y'all play. I always enjoyed watching Lenny play. I don't really enjoy it because my stomach gets in knots when it's in tight, But it's. You guys do your thing.
Yeah. So end up getting assigned. Y'all are there at signing day, all that. Freshman year is weird. I end up getting to play Alabama at home. Lenny, any freshman year games that you can think of that really stick out to you? Maybe Red River Shootout, the OSU game up there. God, we almost 2 bad games, but anyway, we won 1, lost 1.
Yeah, the Red River shootouts was always good. That freshman year was really fast. It seemed like for me, and I think a lot of it was because we were, I was really focused on Mom at that time, trying to take care of her, and that kind of, I think, pulled me away from being able to watch you as much as I'd like to, Right. But I wanted her to be able to be at those games, and I think she was able to go to several of them. I remember Coach Stoops and them guys making sure that she could go up in the Switzer Center and watch those games, which was always cool. But yeah, every Red River shootout, especially the freshman one, I think I was looking like a mascot. I think I had headband on. I put rhinestones. I remember making a rhinestone on number 38 on my head for it. I still got it. It's in my drawer. I still kept it. And but it was so hot. But it was just all about supporting you, and letting everybody know, we were small and fan, but we were there for you. So it was good.
Well, you guys all did a great job taking care of Mom. For those that don't know, our mother was battling cancer at that point. And, Tessa, the grandma got to come see a game. She got to South Florida. I got to score a touchdown in the end zone. But was there any, in the end zone she was sitting, any memories from freshman year you remember?
I don't. Again,
Rose Bowl, maybe?
It went fast.
You remember
we went to the Rose Bowl,
yeah.
Rose Bowl twice, and we talked about that. Our mom was from Altadena, which sits on top of Pasadena, and so we went exploring when we got there and kind of sightseeing. But when it comes to tradition, seeing those floats, seeing the atmosphere, the weather, the history and tradition of the Rose Bowl, definitely that stands out. But the Red River rivalry, when you're first exposed to that, that can make or break you as a fan, because Texas fans are not kind to OU, and OU fans are not kind to Texas. Some of the kindest fans I remember from your journey would be Nebraska and Alabama. Both Nebraska and Alabama have always been nice fans. But you want to talk about memories from football, and I can't probably specifically say freshman or your senior year, but how Texas Tech has always done us. And when I saw you at the beginning of the movie Heckler, and remember seeing them take that guy to jail,
Raiders.
we saw him getting put in a police car later on after heckling you. There's just so many things like that come back to me, but I can't specifically say I remember the year. But fan life is a podcast in itself.
Oh, I believe it. DC freshman year games. Any you remember?
If I may take the liberty to go before freshman year,
Sure.
because I think your experience at A&M, I don't know if a lot of people know about that, but that what do you want to call that, a mini camp or a mini combine?
So, well, thank you. First of all, I think you drove me down twice. To Texas A&M, man, and we drove down once. They had been on me. They were talking to Lenny too, and their coach came down. He came to JB Grimes, who's now he's the offensive line coach at Auburn now. He came to my school. JD, all you have to do is get a scholarship. Blah 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 blah. Me and DC drive down there. I run a 40. They clocked me at 4.48. The next thing I know, me and DC are in the elevator with RC Slocum, and he's like, "Well, I'm offering you a scholarship." That was pretty humbling. So yeah, that was a great memory.
And when they did these drills, this is the thing that kind of stood out to me. So they put you in groups based on, I guess, your size or your position.
Weight classes.
Yeah. Well, they put JD in a weight class, of course, that he was going to beat everybody. But I think they ended up putting you, I want to say, with the quarterbacks, you ended up beating everybody anyway in that camp. It was pretty impressive. And so, I mean, even if you didn't play for the Sooners, you had the opportunity to play in the Big 12, which would have been great. But I'm glad you did play for the Sooners. Much better experience.
I remember y'all going to the Bedlam game. I remember we lost that game that year, and it was up in Stillwater, but that was one of the loudest games that I had ever heard about. The Alabama game that y'all came to. Lynn, we go, so that was obviously, like Lenny kind of said, it was a blur. We go into the sophomore year, we lose Mom. Lynn, kind of tell everybody what it meant to you. Bob Stoops cancels a practice just so our family, or so that our football team can make practice. Talk to everybody. It starts out as a horrible year for us as a family. We end up making the national championship. How was it for you?
Oh, it was definitely humbling. It showed me a different side of a college head coach, because I think when we just see these coaches outside of their norm, or should I say, when you just see them on TV. As a head coach now, I've always wanted to know, how do they really interact with their players, and I saw a side of Bob Stoops that I would have never guessed, because you were just a freshman. That's and right. You weren't established. You really weren't established. You weren't a top recruit for him, and for him to cancel practice and bring the entire team, and Pastor Rutherford stopped the ceremony, told everybody in the front, y'all need to move to the back because the University of Oklahoma Sooners is here, they need seats.
And his son went to Nebraska,
right?
And that was cool. Just seeing and talking to Bob and his wife in the family room, and it just, like I said, it showed a whole different side of him that I've got the utmost respect for him to this day. It's not like we really talked even in the 4 years you were there, but he has high standards. Where I look at him, he's definitely a guy that I would love for my son or my brother, anybody to play for, because he definitely knows how to do it.
Yeah, Sumlin too.
Sumlin and Gundy.
Yeah.
I don't forget about those two. Those were the first two coaches that were actually at the hospital when Mom passed. I remember them two coming up. They were also the first two coaches that came in my house on 541 Showalter that came to recruit you. And those two there, Sumlin and Gundy. And Gundy still to this day, every time he sees me or we see him out in public or at a game, he'll stop and speak. I mean, they're both high character guys, but that just lets them know about what OU football's about, and it's bigger than the game. And they took time to say that to represent our mother, and for you. I think that was a big deal for you, because you needed that. You needed that extra comfort and that support from them kids.
For sure.
Tessa, what was the funeral like for you? Obviously, it was a while ago, but what did it mean to you?
Well, it was unforgettable. I've heard people say that the attendance, they never seen in a funeral attended that heavily, and the procession was miles long. So that, speaks to where we come from. Both you and Lenny were able to, speak at the funeral, and it just shows the type of leaders that you guys are too. So that, that stuck out to me. You have Bob there. He's such a leader. Both Bob Stoops and Rutherford, Pastor Rutherford. And then the community stood up for us.
Funeral experience, what was it like for you?
Like Tessa said, it was a very, very well attended. It speaks volumes for your mom. It speaks volumes for you guys. It was tough because you guys were hurting. I knew it was bad. I mean, I was hurting too, but I hate to see that's your mom. I hate to see y'all in that state. But I think the Lord makes things happen for a reason. That's why the University of Oklahoma, that's why all the friends and family were there. That kind of made it easier, because I can remember being back at our house afterwards and just hanging out and everybody just being easy with it, because it was a long journey. One of the toughest things that I've ever had to experience, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
Same here, man, and I love y'all for it. And again, just thank y'all through. I wouldn't have made it through OU without Bob or Sumlin or all them. Kind of turning it from sad note to a happy note, Lynn. We, after Mom passed away, we go set a national scoring record, put 77 on Texas A&M, 65 on Texas, 55 on Tech, 60 on some other people. Any of those games that stick out to you? Obviously, national championship against LSU or USC. For the fans that don't know, my family made every game in college as well as high school, but they drove, or y'all have to tell them how y'all drove to every
everywhere.
game. I'm pretty sure it had a Crimson
Mini road
excursion.
trips.
We'll have to
Mini
send
road
pictures
trips.
of it. So, but just talk about those next few years, just any of those games that stick out.
Well, I definitely know the Red Rival against Texas. I think after Mom passed, you scored a touchdown, and I remember you pounding your chest and raising your finger up to the sky and basically kind of saying that was for her. That there probably. I think I was crying in the stands after that, because I was excited about you scoring, excited about beating Texas, and excited that Mom got to see you score your first touchdown against Texas. And then that LSU game, I'm still bitter about that.
LSU for me.
Because
LSU for me.
I think
It's about to get good in here. He scored.
LSU. He did score. He did score.
The picture's right here.
We got the
I
picture.
gave that picture. His foot was in bounds.
He
The foot-
scored.
The ball
We
was
should have
crossed.
won.
They called him out of bounds.
That's mine.
And that was a game changer there. I
Yeah.
think they win the game.
Yeah, and it was tense.
Not my favorite stadium to go watch a
No,
game. either.
no, it
I'll
was
be honest with
tense.
you, 'cause
It was tense.
It was too far away from the field, and then I saw that picture, because actually it was Coach Trippy Biggers that gave me a copy of that picture, and I said, "Oh man, I knew it was a score."
Yeah,
but
we were that.
Thoughts,
That's
Tess?
mine. That's mine. I was talking about fans and fans that I care for and fans that I don't. Again, we're a competitive family, and we're gonna definitely rep our colors. And walk into the stadium at LSU, I had a 4-year-old tiger bait me. And that changed my demeanor for the whole game. I said, "Oh, okay,
It brought some.
tiger bait. Okay,
It brought some out of us too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Especially down at LSU, when you're down at LSU, and I was with David and Tessa, and when they say something to you, you're gonna say something back. And then, but after the game, we was humbled. We
We
didn't
were.
go to Bourbon Street or nothing like that. We went straight back to the hotel.
we did.
And because Ann Barbie was
Because Ann Barbie was with us.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
we
always
did.
went back to the hotel because they were out there. They was rowdy.
They know how to party, as
They know how to
everyone
party.
knows,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
partied for that Sugar Bowl. Let me tell you.
DC, any memories sophomore year? I know you're gonna have a ton of them.
I have a ton, but I'll just address the hater, Mike Lupica.
yeah.
He's the 77 nothing on A&M. That's a Big 12 team, Mike. I know this is years ago, but that's a Big 12 team, and their coach gets paid a lot of money to put kids on the field, not to get beat 77 nothing. So.
There it is. Well, what a lot of I said this story. What a lot of people don't know, Brad, and I thought I was telling Brad too, but they at Texas A&M the year before. Well, you mentioned it, D, but I committed. They gave me that scholarship. I commit out of high school when they moved me to free safety. I get a bunch of offers. After our season's over, I only have A&M. I get OU after that, so I commit to OU. Blah blah blah. Fast forward, we lose to A&M my freshman year. Right after we lose, Tess, they had printed off articles already, and it said A&M takes down OU, and they were slapping them against
Yeah.
our window and things like that. So I wanted to go for 100. So
Yeah.
I was like, hey, let's
Yeah, I
go for
remember
100-0.
Yeah.
Another year, Lynn, come back my junior year, some guy named Adrian, the sophomore year, Jason White wins the Heisman. Junior year, some guy named Adrian Peterson shows up. Any fun memories from him? You mentioned his family we were great friends with. Just talk about that.
Oh man, Adrian, and I remember you introducing us to Adrian coming out of the locker room when he was on his visit, and he was someone gave him a pair of cleats, and he was just kind of walking out, and you were introducing to me, and because you were telling me how the size of this kid, and he was well put together, he was well built, and I remember when he got on that field as a true freshman, I mean, what else to say? I mean, they still play back a lot of his highlights from college, and you're the lead blocker, and I know he was always a humble kid, he had that country background with his voice, but he was always stand-up guy. Even when he made it to that top level, he was always real, personal with us when he saw us out, and that was always good, because a lot of them guys, they get a little big-headed and they think so he was always cool with us after that. But I mean, all the blocks and the holes that you made for him, I mean, it was a heck of a tandem in that backfield back there. It was unfair to some of them linebackers, because once you got one, there was no chance for any safety putting him down. None.
Tessa, you mentioned his family was up there 30 deep. Any stories from that? Any memories?
So I'll tell you, because I keep going from the fan angle, because that's what I absorb the most. What better way to spend a football game than with a family that's going to cheer with the band every time, that's going to cheer at every good play, that's going to heckle the other players. When you have that combination of people cheering for the same team, it gets no better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. DC, any memories? AD, I know you was up at that Stillwater game when he broke free. Did that Texas game.
David always refers to that as pushing the B button on the
circle. Either one. What you got?
Man, there's a lot of them. AD was just a phenomenal one, but I think it was like one of the games you couldn't get mad at him, but you could get mad at him. It was two of them. One was against Texas. He breaks down the sideline. He probably could just put a juke on the guy and go score, but instead, AD's physicalness, he wants to. I think it was number 7,
Michael Huff.
He just trucked him.
Yeah.
And I was like, AD, he probably could have went around and scored, but that wasn't his nature. But then I think his competitive nature was against. Tessa said we went to the Rose Bowl twice. The second time is not for the Rose Bowl, but we played UCLA there. Mm-hmm. And I think Beaumont was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And
that was a bad day.
They got into some trouble. And AD, they handed the ball off to AD, and he
pitches it back.
And he tried to pitch it back. And I'm in the thing. I was like, Tessa, if anybody else had ever did that, they would never be playing in football again ever.
That's real.
Yeah.
We lost that game.
We lost that game.
I was at that
UCLA,
game.
yeah.
That was the one time I did get to get
Yeah.
So that's a perfect entrance into, we lost obviously the national championship that year, had just a bad time. Well, first of all, you have to tell me how Miami was on that trip.
That was rough.
Rough.
Yeah.
Miami was really rough.
Was it rough?
And Barbie was with us then.
Yep.
Yeah, it was rough.
That was a fast trip. Because I flew down late. I got down there. I only stayed like a day. I came down the night before, went to the game next day, and flew out.
Yeah.
I think the only highlight of that game was that Kanye West was shorter than me and walked by us.
Kanye West.
Yeah,
You saw
remember?
Kanye West.
Kanye West was there.
Yeah.
But I think at halftime the stadium was cleared out, and I remember DC and I and all of us, we were stretched out on seats just staying to watch it.
And Barbie was saying, you guys are not leaving. We came all this way.
Oh,
We're
yeah,
staying
we
to the
gonna
last
stay. We gonna
second.
stay and
No,
watch
that's
those
what we
guys.
do. We don't
That was
leave.
tough though. Because those the USC fans, they let us have it.
Yeah.
They let us have it up there. But it happens.
That's the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And
They were
the beast
talented
is college
too.
football.
They were talented too. I mean,
So Miami's terrible. So go back. Obviously, I come back my senior year, get to earn captain, make that Don Key Award.
Yeah.
That was probably a great memory having y'all there. Anything stick out for my senior year, Lynn?
yes, they finally gave you the rock.
Here we go.
Yes.
Have to put some Baylor
I don't know
highlights
if it
up
was,
there.
I don't know if it was
Baylor, right?
It was Baylor. Yeah, I think you ended up running for like 50 yards, but it was ended
something
up
like that.
probably if they added all the times you was going lateral, it would probably been almost over 100.
Side
But
to side.
You got the rock a little bit that game. I thought you played real well. It was a great atmosphere, senior night. A lot of tears at the beginning when we were all down on the field, but it was an enjoyable moment for us to see you get to that point. You just don't realize how fast it goes, even in college.
for sure.
For those kids.
Well, that one was homecoming. Senior night was the OSU game, and that was when the one that was very, very emotional. But Tessa, any games stick out senior year?
No.
We went to the Holiday Bowl that year too, so that would be San
remember
Diego.
that.
Oh, we
So
had a
if
good
you
time
went
in that
San
club,
Diego,
though.
yes, we
That
did.
was what was the name of that one?
Gaslamp District. I don't know.
I don't know, Spivey.
Sidecar.
Sidecar, yeah.
Sidecar.
Spivey hooked us up down there and told us where to go there. I remember that.
No thoughts senior year. DC, any thoughts senior year?
Nah, because y'all didn't play that well. I'll just be honest with you. That year, not to be critical, but it was rough. I was just ready for you to get drafted, basically.
That was a rough year.
So it was. All of it was a good experience. I think the biggest one was probably in your sophomore year for me, junior year.
The draft process, Lynn, obviously didn't get invited to the combine, but I go do some training with Chad Ike, get my body right, end up getting drafted. What sticks out to you from the draft process?
I remember coming down to Arizona with you, and I stayed down there for a week and watched the workouts, and I got to see Larry Fitzgerald working out in the same facility with you guys, and just the level of intensity in the workouts. I tried to put my body through for 3 days was an unbelievable experience that I tried to do those things. But watching you stayed focused and understood that, you had to take it at a different path was good for me to see you do that, because I think it was humbling for you, but it made you work harder. And I think that's the reason why you got drafted. And Chad did a phenomenal job of getting you where you needed, getting your body right and getting you where you needed to be. So that was a fun process. I enjoy watching the process sometimes more than the games, because that's where
did you and I
learn.
go to the pro day?
Yeah, down at OU.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember going to pro day. I remember watching you when you did your, you was doing the bench. In fact, at that time, I don't remember the guy's name, but I was just leaning over watching, and the scout from the Bears asked me who I was, and they said, "Man, we really like your brother." And I think I got goosebumps. I didn't know what to say. I was just excited, because we're watching you do your 225 bench reps, and then you got to do your run and your vertical and all that. So those things are like memories you don't forget. Games can be replayed, but you can't replay those
Downtimes.
those pro days and those workouts. Those ain't on videos and all that. Those are the ones that you realize you put in that work. You got to have memory on those.
I really knew I was tearing shit up when Tessa came out and videoed me. So I was like, if I'm doing good,
That was nice.
I must be doing something. Tessa, any memories from that or the draft process?
The draft process is nerve-wracking. Let me. Do I recall correctly? Did you go 173 or something like that?
195.
195 or what? I was thinking 193, 173. So just imagine you're going through all those transactions, and we're waiting around and waiting for you. It was that's what stuck out to me. The wait, it was stressful as heck. Not that I was worried about you not having a plan B or something like that, but all I saw you doing was playing football more, not letting it end at OU.
DC, what you got?
I agree with Lynn. I think he said something big about like the process, and we got to see the end result. So you work very hard to get where you ended up, and that's just a lesson that a lot of people can learn.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not even have set out to actually do it, but as it went along, you probably say, "Oh, I can do this. I believe I can." And so a lot of people don't get to have the experience. I've said that to you before. How many people get drafted in the NFL each year? There's only 600 people in the NFL or something like that. So
Right.
You're a unique individual. You've always been unique. So
True.
I just appreciate the memories, man.
Yeah. No, it was great, man. Then finally, for my career, to get drafted in the NFL, Lynn, get to go to some games in Chicago, get to go to Super Bowl. What sticks out about Chicago? Any memories you make with families up there? Tell me about that.
I didn't really get to meet. I met several of your teammates. I remember when I brought my wife Cecilia up. We got to come up and watch the Super Bowl, which was unbelievable. But also, I think the game that stuck out was when we came up on New Year's Eve and watched you play against Green Bay. I think it was Brett Favre's. He was a quarterback. It was his retirement. So
I think he came back one more year for Green Bay, but everybody thought he was retiring and gave him that standing ovation.
So it was the crowd was ridiculous. The weather was cold, but nothing like playing in Soldier Field. It was. At that point, I was just like a kid in the candy store. I was just excited about being there.
Yeah.
I saved all my ticket stubs.
Right.
I saved every little thing I could get wherever I went, and you just have fun with it. You just enjoy being a fan of the game, and that's those memories stick out. Getting to go down after the game and
meet everyone,
meet the players, meet some of your teammates.
We met Common after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Common. A lot of people don't get to do that, so I never took it for granted. Whenever we had the opportunity to do it, we enjoyed it. It was fun, and we enjoyed every minute of it.
Tessa, you grew up a big Prince fan. You got to see him perform. Any other experiences?
Took the words out of my mouth. It wasn't the football game. Hey, let me tell you, I'm blessed to have gone to a Super Bowl, because many people, will never get to go to one. But everyone, just imagine this for a minute. Stay with me here.
We're gonna put it up.
It is
the highlight
Prince.
up too. We're gonna put it up.
Prince is performing at halftime. It literally misted rain on us for 4 hours. And if you guys know
Messed my
Prince,
J's up.
you know he came up. I lost a cell phone and a purse exploded, but from the water, a Cece's purse I had borrowed actually. But Prince, y'all know that hair was pressed and fly. And I looked at Prince by the end of his set, and he looked like somebody from the East Side that had got rained on.
Cat Williams.
Cat Williams, definitely. And he gave one hell of a show. And who knew we'd lose Prince so long, Prince so young, but that stuck out to me, the Prince performance at the Super Bowl.
You brought it
Soaking
up.
wet,
Yes, sis.
perm gone.
Sis, I've never felt, if it makes you feel any better, I've never felt a game rain like that. That was the rainiest game I've ever been a part of, ever.
Yeah.
DC, any Bears memories, pro memories?
Man, yeah, of course. Bucket list. I mean, I've been to a bunch of stadiums, games that I would never have had the opportunity to go on. So I appreciate that. I don't appreciate Chicago's O'Hara Midway. But there's games that we went to and we had to come back. NFL games on Sunday and we got to come back and we get delayed in the airport for 14 hours. You got to take the next day off from work. But other than that, it was a beautiful experience, man. I liked it, except for like when we went to, I want to say it was either Detroit or see the Rams, and they put us. I think it only goes.
It's Detroit.
It goes up to Z, and they had us in the W's. Like, man, I mean, I'm scared of heights, but we had a good time, man. It was a really, really good experience. I have no complaints, and like I said, bucket list for me.
Want to talk about you guys as educators and coaches if you want. Lynn, obviously head coach of Dell City Eagles. Real proud of you taking 3 different teams to the state tournament. Could go on and on about you developing young kids, mentoring them. But just talk to me about your team, your relationship with your kids, and everything at Dell City.
Things have been good at Dell City. Been fortunate to try to get back home, as we call it home. It's been a lot closer for me and the family with our kids, just being able to coach over at Dell City. A lot of people don't know, but I started at Delcrest back in 1998. That was my first actual coaching job. I was coaching girls basketball and track with the high school and junior high. So it's weird because a lot of those kids now have kids that are at Dell City High School. So I know a lot of those families, and it made the transition a little more easier, just kind of being a mid-Dell kid, going back there and coaching. But it's important that I've learned that every year that you have to continue keeping these relationships with your kids, and that's something I've taken a lot of pride in is not only the relationships that I have with them, but the continued relationships that we continue to have, whether it's phone calls or text messages from my kids from Mount St. Mary, Edmond Santa Fe, and now currently at Dell City. I take a lot of pride in that. I just got an opportunity to. My wife and the kids, we all won. One of my foreign players from Santa Fe he had a little watch party named Daquan Jeffries that finished up at Tulsa, and he just got signed to
should have got drafted.
Yeah, I agree. But he got signed to be a free agent with the Orlando Magic. So we're wishing him the best. And you talk about a young man that's humble and understands how to get things done, even though adversity hits him in certain ways. He's definitely one that I have no doubt that he'll be on somebody's roster. So, but we're looking forward to a good year this year. We got almost 4 returning starters, some key seniors, and got a really, really talented incoming freshman group that is going to be able to contribute. So we'll see what happens, but we're excited about the future here at Dell City.
Go Eagles!
Yeah, no doubt.
Go Eagles!
Eagles fly.
Soar.
Yeah.
Eagles fly.
Yeah.
Tess, you mentioned some of your accolades at Metro Tech, but also forgot to mention how great of a trainer you are. Tell everybody what you got going at Metro Tech as well as training.
Metro Tech, I'm a instructor there. But my passion, of course, is community fitness. So I do host fitness events and train at the local Y, Metro Tech, and even other facilities. We do pop-ups, and it's all about getting entire families healthier.
Absolutely. DC, finish it off. What you got?
I just want to give a good luck shout out to all the students that are riding with me to Kentucky. I'm about to get on the bus in about an hour here, go to Kentucky to compete in National Skills USA. So hopefully we can win some hardware.
Absolutely. Lynn, anything you want to finish up on? Any kids you want to give a shout out to? Like I said, I know you had Daquan. You had 3 kids signed last year, I think. Nate Goodlow's got some offers this year, but
right.
The 3 kids that signed were basketball or for football last year. But again, you guys had a real good class going. And anything else you want to end with?
Well, I think we got a lot of good things going on over at Dell City. This is all our kids. I've been fortunate enough to be on the girls three. Actually, they won it 4 times in a row, but I've only been there 3 years, and we won track 3 years in a row. And the boys just won the track state championship this year with Coach Jones and Coach Gary. Our job is to
We're gonna do a podcast with me, Robert, and Mike here in a little bit.
So, but all my guys, Nate Goodlow, Montre Crutchfield, Keandre Young, those 3 guys, Kyron Williams, all those guys got varsity experience. They're gonna be coming back playing for us next year, and Kyron's gonna have a chance to go, sign in football. He already got offered by UCO. Nate got offered by Cameron, and Montre, I think, is getting ready to get an offer from a school out of Arizona that just contacted me. And Keandre's a kid that's going to be a junior for us, 6'5", shooting guard. Has got some high interest of some Division I's already that are contacting me about him. So the future's bright. I think the kids are starting to figure out we're there for them, and that's what's important. All of our coaches, from football, basketball, baseball, track, and that's what I'm in it for. You got to cherish it now because it goes by fast. It goes by real fast, and I just hope each kid that I get a chance to mentor, coach, whatever. Don't take it personal, as we always tell them. Just we're there to help you out and get you in the right place where you can be successful.
Hey, didn't you coach him in track?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you win state championship?
We won as a team, yeah.
Yeah. Carl Albert was my first state championship that I was a part of as assistant coach. And kind of going back to that, that's one thing that I've always thought has helped JD was it was important for me to be around the friends that I knew that would influence my younger brothers or whoever it was. So Scooter, Damon, Marlon, Terrain, all those guys, Meliah Brewer, all those guys that I grew up with and hung out with, they were all multi-sport athletes. So JD was in the gym to football to track. There was no letdown, no downtime for him, and I think that only helps the kid.
Right, and versatile.
And speaking of a kid like we had Jeff Foreman that just graduated for us now and signed with Arkansas State. He was a football, basketball, track kid. All 3 years he's been at Dell City, and now look where he's doing. He's about to go get a chance to play big-time Division I football. So, it works out for a lot of those kids. It's just keeping them involved and letting them understand how to compete, and that's something that JD's always done, even though he had to throw the shot against Kevin Bookout back then in 2001. Remember that? He placed, though. That's all you need. We just need you to get points. We just needed you to get points.
Tessa, you're a great supporter. You always say we all we got. Favorite game of Lenny's, and then any final thoughts? Did you have any favorite games that you saw this year, last year?
For basketball?
Yeah.
Boy, I'm always impressed with what Lenny can do with his squads. Mm-hmm. I was looking at your freshmen just the other day, and I said, boy, Lenny going to have his hands full, but it's going to be amazing to see what he does with them. Sitting with a frog in my throat when you took second this year was the most memorable for me, because I just really felt that this was going to be your year. But I know you're going to go back and calculate and take what you have and come back in full force, and we'll be back cheering again. I would like to shout out Middale, a couple people that have helped us continue to be successful so long after we kind of left Carl Albert per se. So I just want to shout out Kathy and Harry Dunn for sure, Annabeth and Tex Rollins for sure. Gary and Sheila Rose were there for us for quite some time, and just all the family and friends that have helped this culture come together and thrive. Come together and thrive.
DC, any final thoughts? Favorite game of Lenny's either?
All of Lenny's games are favorite to me. I love watching y'all. Like I said, man, y'all bring it's better than watching any Thunder game or honestly anything else, because y'all are involved in it, so it just gives a lot more meaning to me when I watch it. But I will say that Lenny Hatchett will be selling knockout bars. Get them knockout bars. Special recipe.
Homemade by Cecilia Hatchett. This is the secret behind the success.
If my guys are listening, they'll definitely know what
these are the secret behind the success of the Dell City Eagle High School basketball team. Knockout bars.
Oh, man. Great job, you all. Love you guys.
Thank you. Love you too.
This has just been another episode. Brad Bree's going to add some highlights to this, and he'll kill it. And,
thank you, Brad.
We're going to bring our kids in here for a few questions, but this has been another great episode of Fullback U. I would like to thank my special guest for being here. I'm going to start on my left. Tell him your name. What's your name, sir?
Liam.
Liam Hatchett. What's your name, man?
Meliah Hatchett.
Meliah Hatchett. What's your name, sir?
I forgot
got your son.
James Runnels III is right over here to my right. He thinks he's smart, doesn't he, Liam? Liam, this is an OU football podcast. You are my brother's son. Does your Uncle JD, I heard I'm a popular guy at your school because I play pro football, Liam, but I am just proud to be your uncle. So, Liam, tell me what do you like to do and if you're enjoying school? Do you like YouTube? What do you like on YouTube? Do you like toy reviews, I heard?
Like basketball all day.
You like basketball? Oh, Liam, I heard you can shoot so well. I saw videos. You just make them and do you ever miss? Yes. Barely? Like barely, right?
Well,
Who's better shooter, you or Mimi? You really? Mimi. We call you Mimi. So tell us what sports you play. If you like Uncle JD being a football player, and then if you can beat Liam shooting.
well, first of all, I can beat Liam shooting.
Ooh.
No, you can't. I like doing gymnastics and basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and.
So have you been to any OU football games?
No.
No, I hear that people at your school ask if I'm your uncle because of the whole football deal.
Yes.
Does it get annoying?
Sometimes.
So just be like, hey, he's just Uncle JD. It's not even that big of a deal. He's just JD3's dad. No big deal. James is all occupied over here. James, how do you feel, sir?
I feel occupied with it.
What do you like to do in your spare time? What do you like on YouTube these days?
Probably just anything I can find that I like with a title that I like. Just if I like the thumbnail, I like the title. I like that it's not clickbait.
Perfect.
I mean, I'll watch it.
Perfect. Liam, last question, okay? Last question.
Okay.
Your dad is the greatest coach I know, but they lost the last game, right? Are we going to win it next year? And when you get there, are we going to win the state championship?
Yes.
Yes, we're going to win it next year?
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to win it every year when you get there?
Yes.
Not second place?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
We got this on video, Liam. You sure? Okay. Mimi, what about you? Are we going to win it next year?
Yeah, I think if we work as hard as we did last year, we can win this year. Yep.
Who's some of your favorite players on your uncle's team?
I like Nate.
I'm your dad's team. I'm sorry. My James's uncle.
Nate.
Don't say
I like Montree.
Okay.
And some of the ones that already graduated, I like them too.
All right, James, last question. You've been to a few of your Uncle Lenny's games. You've been to a few OU games. You got to play the pop shot in the OU locker room. What sticks out to you either about OU football games or your Uncle Lenny's basketball games?
That's a hard question. I would need you to repeat that.
OU football games, when you went there, you remember you got to go in the locker room and you got to hang out and take a picture in Logan's locker? I can take that up there. That was a really cool day. You remember that? You got to play the games.
I remember it.
And then sometimes you get to go play basketball against Liam and watch Liam make every shot.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been a great episode of Fullback. You, Mimi, I'm so thankful that you came in. Proud to be your uncle. All right.
Is that all?
That is it, Mr. James. Mr. Liam, how are you feeling?
Good.
Good. Thank you guys for coming in. I love all three of you, and I'm glad they got to meet my family.
A family of Raiders.
Oh, no, he can't start that.
Go Raiders!
Please don't start that.
Go Raiders!
It's been another great episode of Fullback You.